So the first presidential debate was last night. Didn't see the full thing. I saw, I think, what I needed to see. Had a busy day yesterday. But man, what's going on? Like, what are we doing here? Jeez. It was pretty much, an old man struggling to talk versus another old man struggling to say any truth. And, the way I see it, there was already more than 40 former Trump aides, White House officials in Trump's own administration that say he's a danger and he's unfit to be president. Among those, the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, Trump's communication director, the top military official, the Attorney General that he appointed, Bill Barr. His own vice president won't even endorse him, saying he's unfit to be president. Now, if that doesn't tell you mountains about what they saw and what they think, I don't know what will. And, Hope Hicks, Cassidy Hutchinson, we know Michael Cohen turned on them, but man, I don't think Biden obviously did as poor as we hoped he wouldn't do. But I don't think it's about supporting someone that's that old. This isn't about Biden's age as it is as much of Trump deserving a second chance at the White House. It doesn't mean we support Biden for those of us who are leaning towards supporting him or vote Democrat for whatever your reason might be. It's not that we're okay that he's that old or how difficult it is for him to get his point across. To me, first of all, the idea that the man who tried to enforce fake election certificates and tried to overturn the entire presidential election is somehow the right man for the job. That is beyond me. So I'm not even sure how he wouldn't be barred from ever running again. And if he cared so much, how he says about this country, and he would have assisted, first of all, in a peaceful transition of power. They go over what's going on and where they leave off and what they could continue. Instead, he spent the last 3 months of his presidency fixated on overturning the election, finding people that will somehow violate the laws to overturn that election for him. So to me, it's like, where's the respect for the vote of the American people? Where's the respect for the result for a free and fair election? Yeah, the debate was uncomfortable to watch, and I'm sure many people feel the same way on both sides. It was between, like I said, an old man struggling to talk and another old man struggling to say anything true. Trump always says that, one thing I noticed, everybody says we're doing bad. He's always using everybody thinks and everyone is saying, and that is another sign when he's lying. Those of you who have followed his speeches would know that's his source of any lie that he says. His source is, everybody's saying. That's like his only source, because what he's saying is not true. If you're a Trump supporter, you were probably agreeing, I think, with everything that he was saying. Not because it's true. You don't care if it's true. You're just enjoying that constant attack, the constant attacks with no factual evidence. One thing I am glad, though, as horrible as Biden did, one thing I'm glad that he did say was that restoring Roe versus Wade does not mean allowing full-term abortions. Because Trump came with the same tactic he used on Hillary. You're allowing abortions 8 months, 9 months, and even after they're born, which is obviously wouldn't be considered an abortion. That would be just straight out murder. Because once a child is born, it's alive, it's a human. The category of murder, and now it falls under the category of murdering somebody. So he did say that the only exception in restoring Roe versus Wade and a late-term abortion is when the mother's life is in danger. and or is at risk, and the doctors decide, if that's the only way to save her. So there are no full-term abortions allowed besides that. And he told them that. And he said, period. Also, he said, period, period, period. But man, those CNN moderators were lousy. Were lousy for allowing Trump to even say that and not like correcting that. For just allowing him to keep saying that babies are being killed postpartum. That's, to me, that's just a desperate lie from a man who's willing to do and say anything for his agenda, for people to believe his lies. And if you look at the numbers, for all those that believe that abortion is killing babies at any point, 99.7% of abortions happen in the first trimester. I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying I'm okay with it. Just stating the fact of that continuous lie from Trump and the right that we're somehow okay with late-term abortions at 8 months, 9 months. Not true. And what did Biden do when he was asked that? He had like the perfect opportunity, because that is one of Trump's, I guess you could say, weaknesses that people don't agree with on too much. He started talking about immigration. He brought up a point about immigration, and man, that was just like, I'm sure everybody watching was like a giant face palm. Like, what is this guy talking about? Like, he started talking about immigration, and then Trump capitalized and said, oh yeah, the ones that you allow to come in and murder, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should Biden step down to allow for another candidate? I think yes. Will he lose votes if he doesn't? I don't think so. I don't think this is going to be like, wow, you know what? Biden is so old, I'm going to have to change all of my morals and all of the beliefs in my policy and vote for Trump. I don't think that's going to happen. It's unfortunate and it's a disappointment. The reason, and here's the thing about, I don't want to look into the Project 2025 too much. The reason why people, I think, still won't jump ship and say, oh, Biden's so old, he can't even get his point across, that's it, I'm not going to vote for him. Because it's what their agenda represents. No one wants a president who wants to reshape every American institution to his favor, to what he thinks, not what's better for the American people. I'm sure you guys have heard, as I was saying, Project 2025. And I looked into it, or a bit, it's so long, I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing. But from what I read, it is kind of as scary as the media has made it out to be. The plan, obviously, is to fire every government official that's not going to be committed to Trump or his agenda. It's only going to be those who are loyal to Trump, not loyal to the Constitution, not to the country, but to him. That Project 2025 wants to create a personal database for the president to know who is willing to serve him, kind of like a huge list of people that will bend over backwards for him. That's some crazy stuff right there. Authoritarian monarchy idea. On that 2025 website, if you go onto it, you can submit your application to supposedly be considered for the presidential administration. That's something like I've never seen. I don't recall when electing a president will have to revamp and reshape the entire American government and all the institutions. I read into the HUD, into some part of the real estate. They still have Ben Carson, that formerly a brain surgeon, who's infamous for, I don't know if you guys remember, they asked him about REOs, real estate owned properties, and he thought they were talking about Oreos, as in Oreo cookies. Probably a Freudian slip by him. Not sure. But one of the things they want to dismantle, just to take a quick look at it, this PAVE, this policy called PAVE, is called Property Appraisal and Valuation Equity. So what that PAVE is, pretty much, it's making sure that houses or properties are valuated equally without concern of, the race of the person who owns it, because they found, and I remember since I was reviewing some appraisal work, that There, once they would find out the race of the person that lived in that house, the value would come in lower. So that's the unfortunate part. Just to quickly read what this that PAVE policy the Biden administration instituted. So the federal laws require impartiality and prohibit discrimination in all actions relevant to the sale, refinancing, and purchase of a home. However, bias in home valuations led to inequity in housing values and adversely impacts opportunities for minority communities to build wealth through ownership. And the chairman said racial bias in the home valuation process has kept too many families from getting approved for a mortgage, paying a fair and affordable price for a mortgage loan, and has created inequities in housing values and limited wealth building through the home ownership in communities of color. So this PAVE, the Property Appraisal and Valuation Equity Task Force, is working to address these problems head on as we recognize the second anniversary of this important, blah, 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 blah. The work for task force so that all Americans have an equitable opportunity to build wealth through ownership. So it pretty much wants to make sure that people aren't getting the short end of the stick based on their race. So why would that be a bad thing? Why would Project 2025 want to terminate that? Don't know. Another fair housing policy from the Biden administration that Project 2025 has listed that they're going to tackle the first day and first year. So they have certain things that they want to do right away. In less than a year, they want to cancel this. It's called the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing. So let me just read something quick in regards to that. So this policy requires the recipients of HUD of the funds to take meaningful actions in addition to combating discrimination that overcome patterns of segregation and foster inclusive communities free from barriers that restrict access to opportunity based on protected characteristics, which are race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. Generally, in administering programs and activities relating to housing and community development, the federal government, HUD, and its recipients, they must determine who lacks access to opportunity and address any inequity, not iniquity, I believe that's different, inequity among protected class groups, promote integration and reduce segregation, transform racially or ethnic groups, concentrated areas of poverty into areas of opportunity. So that's just a tidbit of what I looked into the Project 2025. And that's what's at stake here. That's what my concern is that they want to just dismantle, they've talked about dismantling the Department of Education, the FBI, anything that holds them accountable from getting away with doing illegal activity. I think at the end of the day, especially yesterday after the first debate, I don't know if you could categorize it as a winner, who won and who lost, in the sense that all the American people lost. Because you have one guy just easily proving lies after another, nonstop. Then you have Biden, who looks too old to even complete a sentence. Now today he did come out, I think it was today, I'm not sure, but he spoke after, and he looked a little bit more normal, a little fiery speech saying that, yeah, he's not that young and he doesn't have the same energy and is not able to express himself the way he used to, but he was talking a bit more normal. It seemed like in the debate, like they drugged him. It looked like he was on, when you go to the dentist and you're still woozy the rest of the day. That's how he looked. But to me, I'm not going to consider or rethink my vote based on his poor performance, because what's at stake on the other side is much worse. It's not just about them two. It's about what what's at risk, what they're trying to do in the next 4 years. And if anybody thinks that Trump is in the exit, if he wins and he's in the exit because that's his second term, you got to be out of your mind. He's going to spend probably those 4 years. His main goal is going to be to be able to institute another term for himself. He's already shown signs of that. He already didn't want to leave the White House after he lost. He still didn't acknowledge that he would accept the results of the election this year. So he's going to find a reason to say that he's being cheated out, that the election was stolen if he loses again. So if he wins, now he's going to find another reason to try to stay in there. He does not deserve another chance. No way in how I think he's a good candidate. And whoever thinks so is just turning a blind eye to everything that he's done and everything he did in the past years in his presidency and now. So I don't look forward to the other debate. We'll see what happens. That's my thoughts. Wanted to get them out there. Peace out.